Yo, how's it going, guys? Today we got the Zefra Swordsoul list inspired by Ryujin at Wormgang TCG. A link to his YouTube channel down in the description below. So they played this in the TCG, a whole bunch, have some great content on it, some combo showcases as well. I've adapted it a bit for Master Duel, of course, adding the Max C package. There's no call by in here because we are playing some super heavies, but you could definitely consider that as well. We also have an Electromite here, which doesn't really come up. I'd probably cut it for another Monk. And we also have the Baron, which isn't legal in the TCG. So in this video, I'll be going through the deck and explaining the different options and why you should play them. And then I'll be uploading a separate video with a bunch of gameplay in it. So I'll link that one in the description as well. Otherwise, they'll just get too long. So getting right into things, for our Zefra package, we're going to be running pretty standard ratio. It's going to be 3 Zefra, 3 Providence, 3 Oracle, and a Divine Strike. And then we're going to be running 3 of each of the Zefra Yang Zings here. Those are the worms, of course. This gives great synergy with the Sword Souls as well, because you could just reveal these from the hand. This means that something like Moye plus Oracle actually gives you Sword Soul combo. We're not running any of the other Zefras, as this isn't really a pendulum-focused build. We are simply using the Zefras and the super heavies to maybe get out like a pen summon, but they mainly have like their own applications, and we're not playing it like a traditional Zefra list. Speaking of the super heavies, we're going to be on 3 Wakaushi, 1 Benkei, of course 3 of the bike, and we're going to be running 1 Soul Horns. This lets us make Denglong off of just Wakaushi and then continue comboing from there. Denglong could search for 9 pillars. I usually don't, so maybe this is cuttable in best of 1, right? You really don't want to see this going second. Instead, I usually search for the Suwani here. And if you normal summon this, you actually get to make a Chaofeng on your 5th summon that locks your opponent out of activating light and fire effects. So this will turn off Nibiru, which is huge. It also turns off all fire hand traps. So something like Kieran can't work, Ash won't work. There is 1 Ash choke point, which is Benkei effect. If they decide not to Ash that, they can't Ash for the rest of the turn or ever. And then they also can't play on their turn if they're playing one of the fire decks. And the most prominent decks this meta are, of course, the Snake Eyes Fire King. You have a bunch of Rescue A stuff, just pure Snake Eyes as well running around. And of course, you're turning off the other light stuff too, right? So if they, for some reason, are holding on to their effect veilers or whatever, right? Or if they're playing a light deck, they also just can't use any of their effects under the Chaofeng lock. For the Sword Souls, we're going to be running 3 Moye. So great card. We have 1 Taya. You don't really want to open this, but you really want to have access to it in later turns. You can also get it off of the Yazi, or you can use it to make the Yazi as well. Very nice there. We're going to be running 1 Longyan as well. I don't really need more than this. You'll search it if you need it. We have 3 Emergence, of course. These are just to search any of the Sword Soul cards that you need, or we search for Protos. So what we're usually trying to end on here is going to be the Firelight Chaofeng, and then a Protos calling Dark, and insulate the whole thing with a counter trap. Anything else is just bonus on top, but this pretty much stops your opponent from playing the game anyways, so it's usually enough there. And we also have a Blackout. Didn't really come up that much. Could be nice. Potentially also cuttable in a best of 1 format, just for more hand traps or maybe just more gas. And then finally we have the Incredible Ecclesia, which it's a free special summon, it's a tuner, it's a different attribute than our other Sword Souls, so that's really good for Protos. And of course it gets us into a Moye or a Taya if we need those. At the Yang Zing payoffs, of course, we have the Suwani, as we mentioned, and then we also have a Jiaotu. You can use this together with something like the Ashina or the Vishuda to make a Dark Lock Chaofeng, or you can just use it as an additional tuner, and then go into some other synchros, also very nice here. And then for the Tenyi package, we're going to be running 2 Idhara, 2 Vishuddha, and then 3 Ashuna, because this just bridges to all your engines. And then we have 1 Shathana. It's level 4, so it's great to use like Heavenly Dragon Circle to dodge an Imperm on Moye, and then keep playing like that. Or you can just summon this from your deck if you need the level, right? If you have the Vishuddha on rotation. Also very, very nice. And then we have a funny package that Ryujin was running. I think it's really cute. It's the Dragonic Diagram and 1 Lithosigem. This is a worm, so you can reveal this. You can use Dragonic Diagram to search this, and then reveal this as your worm, right? If you still need one. And if you pop 2 earth monsters to special summon this, which is a large part of the deck, like all the Zefras are earths. Then you have some more like the Idhara. You can have Maxi if you want to do that for some reason. The Motorbike as well. You get to special summon this, and then you look at your opponent's extra deck, and then you get to rip 3 monsters with different names. This can completely crush some decks. It also gives you great deck knowledge, which is really, really valuable because it lets you adjust the attributes that you are locking with a Chaofeng and the Protoss. So say you rip 3 cards from the deck and you realize, oh, it's Marincess. Chaofeng can't get to water in this build, but we could try to end on a water here like the Croco Dragon or the Changying, or just keep a Moye or something and then call water with Protoss. That'll stop them from playing the game. So the deck knowledge in the best of 1 is very, very powerful because you don't have just free deck knowledge in rounds 2 and 3, because this is a best of 1. For our hand traps, we're going to be running Maxi, of course, because you have to, and Ash because you have to, right? And we also have Shifter. This deck plays like okay-ish under Shifter, and the other decks in the meta don't play at all under Shifter. So kind of nice to sack people with it. You could also consider playing Gamma here. You could also play Called by the Grave, or even Cross Out or something, but you have to be careful that it doesn't conflict with your super heavy stuff. So if you like scale Wakaushi, they Maxi, you use Called by, you can't use the Wakaushi anymore. Kind of inconvenient, honestly. But definitely there's some adjustable stuff, right? Like some of these traps here, you have very good access to Divine Strike, but you're not always going to be searching for the 9 pillars or the blackout. Maybe those want to get cut for like another Dragon Circle here, or some other hand traps. It's all up to you guys. For the extra deck, of course, Danglong, huge playmaker here in our deck. Yazi's really great. It's untargetable, gets a pop, gets to float into another worm, usually like just the Swordsoul. Baxia is insane at breaking boards, and also helps you enable some more lines by reviving level 4 or lower from your graveyard. This gets you to some tuners or some non-tuners of varying levels here. Very, very nice. Shoutout, of course, we use this to search for emergence into Protoss, and then we have another negate with it as well. Very nice. Protoss is usually worth more than the negate from this, so if you are lacking attributes, you could just banish a Shoutout from field. Of course, the Chaofeng part of our end board, trying to lock out all the attributes. If this gets destroyed, it actually floats into a tuner. You get to add a tuner from your deck to your hand. So this could be an Ash Blossom for another negate. If you want to run an Effect Veiler or like a Ghost Ogre or something, you can search for those as well. Or you can just grab an Ecclesia for follow-up. Maybe even Wakaushi for some reason, if that's still live. I doubt it because you ran through the monk, right? But there's a lot of nice options. And it also has a secret effect here, which doesn't really come up that much. But if a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can special summon a worm from your deck with that same original attribute. Very interesting. You can trigger this by just beating over something by battle. You can also trigger this by popping something with a Baron or so. So very, very nice to keep in the back of your head, but not really relevant for most of our main lines. But again, a lot of the worms in the extra deck just give you a ton of extra power going second, giving you an additional push to help break some boards here. The Croco Dragon here, It's there for the Oracle combo, where you get to search for any monster in your deck. This is really, really good because it can give you another line to access the Protos. You can search for just a Maxi to have on top of your end board, or if you're missing another combo piece, you can just go straight for that. Baron, of course, this reason it's banned in the TCG. It's just a free negate. You get a pop as well. Very, very powerful. And then, of course, you can float after using the negate and then remake it, or go into something else to end the game quickly. And then we have Chengying as our other 10. Also very good. The other option, the one that Ryujin was running, was the Qixing Langyan over the Baron, which is of course banned. I think it's also very, very powerful. However, I think the other cards just have more value, and I don't really see us making 3 Synchro 10s in a game. It's just probably something I'd run once Baron gets banned, if at all. Monk is very, very nice. Of course, for like all the Sword Soul stuff, it turns on all of your tennies and stuff. You should probably run 2, because you can't actually link off the Vishuda to get its effect live if you summon it off the Ashina. So I think we should probably cut the Electromite, which just doesn't come up here as much. You're not going to get 2 Pendulums on the board very often, and if you do, you're probably just going to be synchroing them off. I don't really think it's worth running it. I never made it at all. This just isn't the deck for it, because we are running so many non-pendulum monsters. Shaman, of course, is crazy. There's like a ton of interactions from this, like from Sword Soul, right, where you can bring back your Chengying or something, or you can bring back some synchro material, you can bring back some other good stuff. And of course, if you attack with a monk, you could just pop a free card your opponent controls. So very, very nice. Beyond the Pendulum, it's kind of awkward to run with Zefra, of course, and it's also it doesn't really have that many great search targets. It can get you into a Zefranu if you're not like playing with the Zefra stuff already, anyways. So that's pretty cool, and you can use it to like help break boards, which is of course a great advantage here. The SP Little Knight is of course just a great card. One thing to keep a note is it does say to affect monsters, so you cannot simply use a Tenyi to link off into Monk and then say, oh yeah, we got the link monsters material, you got to banish a card. You can't make it in the first place, because this is a non-effect monster. Very unfortunate. And of course we have the Apo. We still do have pendulums, so you want to have all those link arrows. You get a bunch of generic materials together that don't really accomplish much, and then you just make a big Apo. Very nice to have. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video then for all the combos.